Welcome back to the deep dive. Today we are tackling a fundamental contradiction of the modern world.
Hmm.
You would assume that in an era of, total digital omniscience, where we have satellites that can read a license plate from orbit,
Right.
where every inch of the globe has been photographed, mapped, and cataloged, that the concept of a true secret place is, well, obsolete.
And that, counterintuitively, is completely wrong. Earth is still actively guarding profound secrets.
It's incredible to think about.
It really is. Our sources today are less about cataloging what we know and more about documenting the places where our knowledge, it just fails.
Yeah.
These aren't just remote corners. They are geographical phenomena where established laws of physics, history, geology, and even biology seem to hit a definite immovable wall.
So our mission today is pretty ambitious. We're diving into four distinct mysteries: a sacred mountain guarding secrets in the sky,
Oh?
a subterranean cathedral guarded by lethal heat, a man-made labyrinth guarded by vastness and history, and a tiny patch of ground guarded by, well, maybe the devil himself.
Exactly. And for you, the learner, these sites offer fascinating aha moments because they really demonstrate the limits of the known world. They give context to some of the biggest, most radical theories out there.
And what's fascinating here is how fundamentally different the defense mechanisms of these mysteries are.
That's the unifying thread. They are guarded not by human security, not by fences or guards, but by impossibility itself. We're going to see nature, history, and, well, perhaps something else entirely, working to maintain the solitude of these locations.
So where do we start?
We start high above the world in the cold, thin air of the spiritual realm, with a mystery rooted in religious reverence and some very strange architecture.
Okay, let's begin with the enigma of Mount Kailash. If you look at a picture of it, the first thing that strikes you is its impossible geometry.
It's almost too perfect.
Right. This structure rises 6,638 meters from the vast, inhospitable Tibetan plateau. It's strikingly symmetrical, a snow-crowned peak that looks less like a randomly formed mountain and more like a deliberate, almost perfectly pyramidal structure.
Geographically, it's stunning, but its real stature is spiritual. It is, unequivocally, the most sacred mountain on Earth. And this leads us to the key distinction, the thing that lands it on our list.
Which is?
It is the only major Himalayan peak that remains unconquered. And this is where the mystery really starts.
Right. It's not just that it hasn't been climbed, it's that mountaineers are explicitly prohibited from climbing it. And not because it's too hard.
Exactly. Not due to technical difficulty, but due to prohibition. In the age of Everest base camps and professional climbing teams, the fact that this one peak remains pristine it's genuinely unique.
So this unconquered status is entirely because of its sacred boundary.
Entirely. Our sources make it clear that Kailash is the access point for four of the world's great diverse faiths.
And these aren't small local beliefs. We're talking about Hinduism, Buddhism, Jainism, and the indigenous Bon faith.
Spanning continents and millennia, its significance is just. It's foundational to the world's spiritual geography.
That's the perfect word for it, foundational. So if you are an adherent of any of these faiths, the mountain represents the absolute center of everything.
Absolutely. For Hindus, it's the legendary dwelling of Shiva, the god of destruction and rebirth, who sits there in eternal meditation. It's the source of cosmic power.
And for Buddhists,
For Buddhists, it embodies the mythical Mount Meru, the ultimate spiritual axis upon which the entire cosmos spins. It's not just a mountain, it's a living temple, the physical anchor of the universe.
and this reverence, this profound weight, it defines how people interact with it.
It does. The ultimate goal isn't conquest. It's not planting a flag. It's ritual devotion. And this is expressed through the Korah.
The Korah, right. Walk us through that, because that is a feat of endurance and faith in itself.
It's a grueling 52-kilometer pilgrimage route around the base of the peak at extreme altitude.
So this isn't a casual stroll?
Not at all. It takes the average pilgrim 3 days to complete, though some incredibly devout followers complete in a single day or even perform full-body prostrations for the entire distance, which can take weeks. And the belief is that by completing the Korah, the pilgrim washes away the sins of a lifetime. A single circuit. Some believe that completing it 108 times guarantees enlightenment.
So the cultural weight of this journey, this continuous flow of devotion, is what has successfully guarded the mountain. The Chinese government's refusal of climbing permits is based on respecting these sentiments.
That's the official reason, yes.
But if it were just a place of religious sanctity, it would be a protected site, not a full-blown mystery. And this is where the physical evidence starts to collide with the spiritual.
Exactly. Pilgrims and local guides consistently report a strange phenomenon, an anomaly that suggests the environment itself is somehow warped.
And this is the time anomaly.
Yes, the reports of a perceived time anomaly are incredibly consistent and specific. People who spend time around the base of Kailash, particularly on that Kora route, report the feeling that time seems to accelerate locally.
Okay, feeling time accelerate is one thing. That could be subjective. Is there any physical evidence?
That's the thing. They cite physical evidence, rapid hair and nail growth, an intense, rapid increase in the rate of cellular aging, far exceeding what you'd expect.
Wait, really? So you spend a few days there and you come back needing a haircut and a manicure?
That's the claim. That 12 hours on the Kora is equivalent to something like 2 weeks of normal growth. It takes the mystery out of the subjective realm and puts it into measurable biological processes.
So what could possibly cause that acceleration? Is it just the altitude stress or maybe some kind of unique atmospheric radiation?
That's the debate. The altitude is extreme, sure, but it shouldn't cause this level of accelerated growth. It's not a known symptom of altitude sickness.
So what are the theories?
Scientists have speculated it could be the effect of an extremely localized and intense magnetic field, or perhaps infrasound generated by the peak's unique structure, acting as a massive resonator. These invisible physical forces might be subtly interfering with the human body's cellular structure, speeding up the biological clock.
So the mountain is, in effect, slightly aging you faster than the rest of the world.
In a very localized way, yes.
And the mountain structure only deepens that puzzle. It pushes us away from random geological formation and toward deliberate design.
Precisely. The visual evidence is just too convenient. The mountain's 4 faces align almost perfectly with the cardinal directions north, south, east, west.
Which is statistically very unlikely for a natural peak.
Extremely. And the peak's geometry is too crisp, too pyramidal. This observation forms the basis of the most radical and frankly, politically charged theory surrounding Kailash.
The city of the gods.
The city of the gods.
Ah, the Russian theory. Let's dive deep into this subplot because it requires serious justification to move Kailash from a sacred mountain to a massive piece of ancient infrastructure.
This theory gained traction following expeditions led by Russian scientists, most notably a Dr. Ernst Muldishev, who proposed that Kailash is not a natural mountain at all.
Okay, I have to be skeptical here. A mountain of that size being artificial, I mean, that completely upends human history as we know it.
It absolutely does. And that's why it's so controversial. They suggested it is the center of a monumental artificial complex, a city of the gods, that included perhaps 100 other ancient pyramids and structures, all built millennia ago, using technology we simply cannot account for.
So what tangible evidence, beyond just looking at its shape, did these Russian teams cite to back up such an enormous claim?
They presented 2 main pieces of evidence based on their remote sensing and exploratory measurements. First, they reported detecting intense, strange magnetic anomalies around the site.
Magnetic anomalies.
Yes, particularly concentrated at the peak and on the 4 faces. A natural mountain of granite wouldn't generate such specific, powerful magnetic fluctuations. This suggests the presence of either massive, highly conductive mineral deposits or, and this is the leap,
Or something else.
potentially metallic or technologically advanced materials embedded deep within the structure.
So the argument is that these magnetic fields are the remnants of some form of ancient power source or a navigational beacon?
That's the implication. Second, and perhaps even more provocative, they reported evidence suggesting the mountain appears to be hollow in places.
Hollow, a hollow mountain.
Using specific radar techniques, they hypothesized internal chambers, tunnels, and structural buttressing within the peak itself. If true, the scale of construction implied building a massive, hollow pyramid over 6,000 meters high, it just defies all conventional understanding of prehistoric civilization.
It provides a chilling new context for the government's refusal to allow climbing, doesn't it?
It really does.
If the mountain is indeed hollow, or if it harbors sensitive materials, then allowing climbers up there isn't just disrespecting religion, it's risking the structural integrity or potentially exposing, well, who knows what.
The question shifts from, are they protecting sanctity, to, are they protecting something else or protecting us from whatever is in there?
Which brings us to the final element, the barrier of dread.
That dread is the final, compelling psychological element. We have accounts from climbers who, despite the prohibition, managed to approach the lower boundaries. They didn't turn back because of physical obstacles, not because of technical difficulty or sudden storms.
But what made them turn back?
They retreated because they were struck by an overwhelming dread, a profound psychological wave of warning, A sudden and debilitating fear that felt primal, like a get-out signal being broadcast directly into their minds.
It sounds like the mountain itself is broadcasting a defensive signal. Maybe the same energy that accelerates hair growth also affects the human nervous system.
Exactly. It lends credence to the idea of a powerful, energetic force guarding the peak. Whether that force is Shiva's eternal meditation or the lingering energy field of an ancient hyper-advanced mechanism. The mystery of Kailash is guarded by 3 layers: spiritual prohibition, that bizarre time acceleration, and a possible subterranean structural secret.
Okay, so we've examined a sacred mountain guarding secrets in the sky, where the mystery is protected by sanctity and maybe advanced technology. Now, let's use that idea of deep time preservation and energy and dive to a lethal cathedral guarding secrets deep underground.
A place where the defense mechanism is simply impossible. Sustained geological hostility.
We transition dramatically now from the cold, oxygen-deprived Tibetan plateau to the overwhelming, superheated environment 300 meters beneath the Chihuahua Desert in Mexico. This is the Cave of the Crystals. I remember the initial reports of the discovery back in 2000. It was Mexican miners, right? They were drilling through a fault line in a limestone wall and just suddenly broke into this unbelievable void.
The descriptions were immediately fantastic. And for once, the reality was even more incredible than the description.
Fantastic is the only word. I mean, can you paint a picture for us?
Imagine a cavern where the structures are not rocks or stalagmites, but massive, shimmering selenite crystals. And they're crisscrossing the space like the structural pillars of a giant's cathedral. The sheer scale defines the location. These are translucent, luminous mineral beams, often described as having an otherworldly, glassy glow.
Give us the specifics on size, because that's what makes this a true global anomaly.
We're talking about crystals that reach lengths of up to 11 meters. That's the size of a telephone pole laid on its side.
11 meters.
And they can weigh as much as 55 tons.
Yeah.
These are by far the largest natural crystals ever found on Earth. And their existence demands an explanation of how nature could possibly achieve such perfect, gigantic formation.
And the answer to their size lies in the chemistry and, crucially, the time involved. This wasn't some quick geological eruption. Our sources emphasize a 500,000-year formation process.
That's the key. It is flawless, slow-motion creation.
So what were the conditions? What did it take to grow something like that?
It required perfectly sustained conditions over deep geological time. The crystals grew in a bath of mineral-rich groundwater that was saturated with calcium sulfate. But the real key, the secret ingredient to their size and perfection, lies in the precise temperature. The environment had to be maintained at precisely 58 degrees Celsius.
Precisely 58. Why that specific number? Why is 58 degrees so crucial to the existence of these 55-ton pillars?
It's fascinating. It all relates to the phase transition of gypsum. Gypsum is hydrous calcium sulfate, which just means it contains water molecules within its crystal structure.
Okay.
When calcium sulfate is dissolved in water at temperatures below 58 degrees Celsius, it forms crystals like gypsum, or this beautiful clear version selenite. But when the temperature rises above 58 degrees, it transitions into something called anhydrite, which is a dehydrated, smaller, and less impressive form of the mineral.
So 58 degrees was the perfect Goldilocks zone.
The absolute perfect razor's edge zone. Hot enough to keep the water supersaturated with minerals, but not so hot that it dried out the structure. It allowed the crystals to grow undisturbed, microscopic width by microscopic width, over 500,000 years.
And what kept it at that perfect temperature for 500,000 years?
A massive underlying magma chamber, roughly a mile below the surface, which acted like a thermostat. It kept the mineral solution consistently heated. This geological furnace created a perfect 500,000-year-long incubator. The perfection of the crystals is proof of the flawless stability of that environment.
But this flawless geological environment is fatally hostile to us now. The defense mechanism of this masterpiece isn't structural or religious, it's the lethal climate itself.
The current conditions are extreme, making the cave almost completely inaccessible. The air temperature hovers around 50 degrees Celsius.
That's about 122 Fahrenheit.
Combined with nearly 100% humidity. For an unprotected human, you're looking at a certainty of death in under 10 minutes.
That is fighting thermodynamics, not just heat. If the air is 100% saturated, your body cannot use its primary cooling mechanism.
Exactly. Your sweat can't evaporate, which means your core body temperature rapidly climbs toward fatal levels. This reality imposed severe exploration constraints, making this a true guarded secret. The early explorers, The handful who went down had to rely on specialized, elaborate equipment.
Walk us through the technology needed just to survive 20 minutes down there.
It was essentially a miniaturized life support system, like something an astronaut would wear. Explorers had to wear these specialized suits that were filled with ice water, a system of cooling tubes constantly circulating freezing liquid around their bodies to draw heat away.
Wow.
They also required closed-circuit breathing apparatus because the air itself was stifling and carried high levels of dangerous gases like carbon monoxide. Even with all this advanced gear, their maximum endurance time was limited to 20 or 30 minutes.
Just 20 minutes.
Before the system began to fail or the physiological stress just became too severe.
Think about the dedication that requires spending months preparing just for a 20-minute window of research, battling the environment every single second. Yet, within that impossible heat, scientists made a discovery about the resilience of life that has profound cosmic implications.
They found something incredible. Ancient microorganisms trapped inside microscopic fluid pockets within the selenite crystals. These were extremophile bacteria, which had been dormant in a state of profound suspended animation for between 10,000 and, in some cases, up to 60,000 years.
60,000 years. That is deep time survival. How are they able to confirm the age and the viability of these microscopic secrets?
Researchers had to use meticulous, sterile techniques to drill into the crystals and sample the fluid pockets without contaminating them with modern bacteria. Genetic sequencing then confirmed they belonged to ancient lineages, completely unknown to science.
And the mind-bending part.
The mind-bending part is that when they were cultured in specialized controlled laboratories, these 60,000-year-old microbes were successfully revived. They literally came back to life after tens of thousands of years, locked in a crystal prison.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, this finding completely redefines our search for life beyond Earth. We spend enormous amounts of energy looking for liquid water and mild temperatures.
And this suggests that life is far more durable, far more capable of enduring geological extremes than we previously imagined. If life can survive dormant in a superheated, mineral-rich environment for 60,000 years on Earth, the possibility opens up that life could survive similar conditions on other worlds.
You mean in the subsurface of Mars,
Or perhaps hibernating inside alien minerals elsewhere in the solar system, just waiting for the right moment to awaken. The Cave of the Crystals becomes a critical proxy for astrobiology. It's a proof of concept.
It changes the entire definition of survival. But this story has a tragic, inevitable footnote, doesn't it? It underscores that our access to these guarded secrets is often temporary.
It does. In 2015, the mining operations that had required the groundwater to be pumped out, which is what kept the cave dry, they ceased.
So the cave's protective layer, the water is returning.
Exactly. The pumps were turned off. The cave is slowly flooding again, drowning beneath the same mineral solution that took 500,000 years to create the crystals in the first place. This masterpiece is returning to the deep, intentionally sealed by nature once more.
After the briefest window of human access, just a couple of decades, this immense geological secret will be completely inaccessible.
Within a few short years, it will be completely sealed by the water and the relentless heat, perhaps for another 500,000 years until the geological conditions shift again. Nature's cathedral is taking its 60,000-year-old secrets back. It's a stark reminder that some mysteries are guarded simply by the sheer, unforgiving scale of geological time.
If the Earth can preserve ancient life for 60,000 years inside a crystal structure, what has human history preserved within its own hidden spaces? We move now from the overwhelming natural heat of the Earth's core to the dark, chilling, and very much man-made tunnels of a European capital built on death.
We're transitioning now to a structural mystery that blends historical crisis, architectural necessity, and a profound psychological horror: the catacombs of Paris.
The scale here is it's staggering. We're talking about a 300-kilometer labyrinth of tunnels.
That currently holds the arranged remains of over 6 million people.
6 million. More than twice the population of the city living above it. To understand the mystery, we have to look at the historical necessity. It didn't start as a burial ground.
Not at all. It began as vast subterranean limestone quarries hollowed out over centuries, specifically to build the city above. Paris, the city of light, is literally sitting atop its own hollowed-out skeleton.
And that skeleton eventually demanded attention. The key event that transformed these carriers, these quarries, into an ossuary occurred in the late 1700s. Paris was facing a massive sanitary crisis.
That crisis was centered around the Holy Innocents Cemetery. It had been in use for nearly 1,000 years.
And it was catastrophically overflowing. I read that the ground level was raised by meters due to the centuries of accumulated burials.
It was so dire that walls separating the cemeteries from the surrounding houses were cracking under the pressure. And during heavy rains, decaying bodies were literally spilling into the streets and contaminating the local water supply. It was a crisis of public health, sanitation, and profound religious respect.
So the solution was gruesome but necessary. Empty the graveyards and transfer the bones into the abandoned mines below.
And this was not a quick process. It took 12 years, beginning in 1785, to transfer the remains of millions of people. Nightly processions of carts, draped in black, carried the bones through the city.
And the workers, under the direction of the Inspectorate General of Quarries, they didn't just dump the bones.
No, they arranged them with a chilling, meticulous artistry to form the structural walls of the ossuary. Femurs are stacked in neat rows, interspersed with geometric patterns formed by skulls, creating this macabre but stable infrastructure.
It's a constant visual reminder of mortality and the sheer volume of history beneath your feet. And above one of the original entrances, the inscription. It sets the tone.
Arrête, c'est ici l'empire de la mort. Stop. This is the empire of death.
That psychological impact is crucial, but it only scratches the surface. The official tour route, while moving and profound, covers what, maybe 2 kilometers?
A tiny fraction. The real mystery, the empire of hidden death, is the vast, unauthorized, illegal labyrinth that constitutes the other 298 kilometers of tunnels.
This is the vast zone where the catacombs truly transform from a historical monument into a living, though illicit, subterranean counterculture. We're talking about the cataphiles.
The urban explorers who venture down at their own immense risk.
And this isn't a new thing, is it?
No, this culture is decades old, and it operates under its own stringent rules of silence and secrecy. They access the tunnels through hidden manholes, maintenance accesses, or utility tunnels, any small point where the authority of modern Paris doesn't immediately reach.
And the police, the cataphlix as they're called, they try to stop them.
They conduct regular raids, but the tunnels are simply too vast and confusing to patrol effectively. It's an impossible task.
And what have these cataphiles discovered in the hidden deep? It's not just bones, is it?
Far from it. This is where it gets really interesting. They find entire, hidden, functioning communities. They have mapped and established underground cinemas.
A cinema?
A full cinema with a screen, projector, and seating. Discovered by police in 2004, they found vast art galleries showcasing their own work, complex rooms dedicated to rituals, and even fully equipped bars and social spaces, complete with sound systems and chairs. This is a shadow city existing in the pitch black, surrounded by 6 million dead.
The sociological aspect is incredible. It's a place where modern bureaucracy and surveillance they fail. The vastness of the network is the primary guard.
It is. It makes permanent law enforcement impossible. Furthermore, beyond the social gathering spaces, cataphiles report finding deeply unsettling locations. Rooms with occult symbols, strange altars, and pathways that seem to intentionally defy logical navigation.
What do you mean?
Passages that appear to go nowhere, yet footprints prove recent human use. It suggests specific routes and activities known only to a select few, used perhaps for genuine occult purposes, or simply to enhance the mystique of their hidden world.
And the physical dangers are immense, reinforcing the catacomb status as a guarded secret. We're talking about unstable geology, aren't we?
Absolutely. Paris is built on limestone and gypsum, and the constant threat is collapse. These are called fondus bell-shaped collapses, where the ceiling of the quarry suddenly gives way.
And the city above has literally collapsed into the void below without warning.
Yes. Entire streets, buildings. There's a real and present danger that the catacombs are actively digesting Paris from within. The dead outnumber the living, and their kingdom is proving structurally more persistent than ours above.
But the terror goes beyond geology. Let's talk about the psychological horror of being lost down there, which is a key defense mechanism.
It's the fear of being swallowed by the darkness and the geometry. Imagine being deep in that 300-kilometer maze, with your only light being a small lamp. The sense of disorientation and madness must be overwhelming.
There are real-life accounts of this.
There are. Stories of explorers getting separated from their groups, wandering for days, losing all sense of time, following the only persistent sound, the drip, drip, drip of water. The total sensory deprivation can lead to a rapid psychological breakdown.
And this isolation leads directly to the unsolved phenomenon, the unnerving auditory element reported by cataphiles, something that defies easy explanation in the deep darkness.
Many, many cataphiles report hearing whispers in corridors they know to be empty. And even more chilling are the accounts of footsteps that pace alongside them. The key detail is that the footsteps maintain this unnerving parallel existence. They stop precisely when the explorer stops and start again when the explorer moves. It's a shadow, an audible companion in the absolute dark.
The rational explanation is usually sound manipulation, right? The vast, empty stone chambers create incredibly complex echoes, or the shifting stone and water create auditory illusions.
That's the rational defense, of course. But you have to contrast that rationality with the context. You are alone, you are disoriented, and you are surrounded by walls made of the femurs and skulls of 6 million people.
Many of whom died in horrific circumstances.
From the plague or victims of the guillotine during the French Revolution. The psychological projection of profound isolation and mortality is immense. So whether it's genuine paranormal activity or simply the human brain reacting to the overwhelming history, the effect is the same. The catacombs actively push people away, forcing them back to the surface, maintaining his hidden empire.
We've moved from a colossal, sacred structure in the sky, through a crystalline furnace in the Earth's core, to an immense subterranean structure built by man, filled with the echoes of history. Now we transition to a mystery that is small, perfect, and terrifyingly local.
A barren circle where the devil himself supposedly paces.
This final mystery is maybe the most stubbornly resistant to conventional explanation, precisely because of its limited scope.
Exactly. We're in the dense forest of Bear Creek, North Carolina, and the anomaly is hyper-localized. It's not a vast network or a huge mountain. It's just a circle.
The phenomena is defined by its perfect geometry and its absolute lack of life. Describe the physical characteristics of the Devil's Tramping Ground.
It is a circle, almost precisely 12 meters in diameter, that's about 40 feet. Within that perfect perimeter, nothing grows.
Nothing at all.
Nothing. No grass, no weeds, no underbrush. Even insects seem to avoid settling there. The earth is stubbornly bare, and crucially, animals refuse to cross the circle. Local stories say if you chase a dog, it will dart around it rather than step on the exposed earth.
And this site has been known for centuries, long before modern science began trying to debunk it.
Absolutely. It has a profound cultural history known since pre-colonial times. Native American tribes in the area avoided it, seeing it as a powerful, unsettling place, a doorway to another realm, or a meeting point for dark spirits. They instilled a deep respect for that boundary.
Which is where the dominant folklore comes from, the devil's cloven hooves giving the location its name.
The local legend holds that at night, the devil paces this perfect circular boundary while plotting his strategies against humanity, and his constant walking has worn the earth completely bare, making it hostile to all life.
So the mystery is defined by this persistent, visible defiance of biology. Skeptics, naturally, try to introduce life to debunk the legend. What happens?
It actively defies life. People have planted seeds there and they refuse to germinate. They've transplanted healthy clumps of grass, sod from the vibrant surrounding forest, and those clumps wither and die within days.
As if the ground itself is toxic.
As if the ground itself possesses a potent, localized anti-biological property.
So the rational mind immediately steps in with standard scientific explanations. Maybe a mineral deficiency, or perhaps excessive toxicity like high salt deposits, or a specific fungal contamination that kills everything. What do the soil tests actually show?
And this is where the mystery solidifies and becomes so frustrating for skeptics. Multiple scientific tests, conducted by universities and agricultural experts, have conclusively found nothing unusual.
Nothing.
Nothing. The soil composition, its pH level, its mineral content, its moisture, its chemical makeup, is chemically identical to the soil just 2 feet outside the boundary where the forest thrives.
Wait, so the soil is perfectly fine, but nothing grows?
The rejection of life is not caused by abnormal soil. The rejection is occurring despite normal conditions.
The mystery, then, is that normal soil composition is producing an abnormal enduring effect. The cause must be external to the soil itself.
Precisely. And the phenomena extend beyond biology to physical objects. Objects left overnight inside the circle, whether it's mundane camping equipment or sensitive scientific instruments, are often found scattered in the surrounding woods by morning.
Thrown.
Sometimes thrown significant distances as if by an invisible hand or force.
That suggests a mechanical force is acting within the boundary. We also hear about significant equipment failures during modern investigations, specifically relating to magnetic fields and electronics.
Yes, compasses, both analog and digital, spin uselessly within the 12-meter boundary. They just can't find magnetic north. This strongly suggests a severe localized electromagnetic interference.
And that interference could potentially be the key to the whole mystery.
It could. A constant, localized, naturally occurring electromagnetic field that is subtle enough not to destroy the soil's chemistry, but potent enough to disrupt the delicate biological processes of germination and growth and our navigation tools.
That would explain the compasses, but what about the electronic failures?
Teams using sophisticated recording gear often report total malfunctions. Video cameras especially are problematic. They repeatedly turn themselves off or lose charge with impossible speed. One team's video camera was documented repeatedly, cycling power, while placed near the center of the circle.
So it's further evidence of that strange electromagnetic or energetic signature acting as a barrier to our ability to measure and record the environment.
It seems so.
Let's discuss the early accounts and the modern audio evidence. What about the sensory phenomena?
Early settlers reported phenomena we might now categorize as paranormal. Strange lights hovering above the circle late at night and sounds like grinding stone or deep, heavy breathing emanating from the ground itself.
And modern investigators?
Using thermal imaging, they've recorded significant unexplained thermal anomalies, specifically temperature drops of 10 to 15 degrees Fahrenheit within the circle, even on warm nights. That is a significant unexplained thermodynamic effect in a very small space.
The audio evidence is perhaps the most unsettling witness story. The team that had the camera malfunction, they played back the footage captured just before the camera died, didn't they?
They did, and beneath the sound of the wind rustling the leaves in the surrounding trees, they detected a low, resonant voice on the playback. Critically, the voice spoke no recognizable human language. It was just there, on the tape.
A low, unrecognizable voice.
Yes, and this persistent, unidentifiable voice, coupled with the systemic equipment failure, adds a profound auditory layer to the biological and electromagnetic puzzle.
The rational mind rebels against this combination of facts. You have chemically normal soil, biological impossibility, physical interference, and recorded auditory anomalies. Yet the circle remains stubbornly bare after centuries.
The force creeps right up to the edge, but it will not cross that 12-meter boundary. Whatever force resides in that spot, whether it's a geological anomaly generating a powerful localized field, an ancient curse, or some kind of quantum oddity, it refuses to let life take root. It is a true guarded secret, defended by an invisible, relentless wall.
So what does this all mean? We've covered 4 incredibly distinct types of enduring guarded mysteries today. We started high with Mount Kailash, protected by religious sanction and maybe ancient artificial infrastructure.
We dove deep to the Cave of the Crystals, guarded by lethal environmental perfection and the astonishing resilience of ancient life.
We explored the vast man-made catacombs, guarded by sheer confusion, geological threat, and psychological dread. And we ended with the Tramping ground, guarded by a hyper-localized, powerful rejection of biology and technology.
The synthesis is clear. These mysteries persist because they force our scientific, historical, and spiritual efforts to hit a fundamental wall. In all 4 cases, the simplest, most rational explanation. It just fails to account for all the evidence presented.
So we're forced to step back.
We are.
Yeah.
We have to consider explanations that range from ancient advanced technology for Kailash, to dormant deep-time life proxies for the crystals, to energetic echo chambers for the catacombs, and unexplained localized physical or quantum oddities for the Tramping ground.
And those theories are necessary attempts to bridge the vast gap between the evidence we have and the explanations we accept. The volume of evidence, the consistent reports of the time anomaly, the 58-degree stability required for the crystals, the 300 kilometers of bone-lined tunnels, and the stubborn barrenness of the Tramping ground. It all demands that we keep questioning the limits of our knowledge.
And this raises an important question. Why do some mysteries persist across cultures and through centuries of scientific inquiry? I think it's because they are guarded not by simple walls or closed doors, but by the very limits of our current understanding. They're just too sacred, too hot, too vast, or too strange.
And maybe we need that.
Ultimately, these places confirm a necessary human need for the unknown, a world where every single variable is solved, where every corner is charted and completely understood. I think that would be profoundly lacking. Unbearable, even.
It's the resilience of the unknown that is the most persistent factor here. And thinking about that, think again about the sheer endurance we discussed.
The 60,000-year-old microbes.
Exactly. If life can survive dormant for 60,000 years deep inside a crystal structure in the Earth's belly, and if that structure is now retreating beneath the water, sealed off from us, How many other secrets, biological, geological, or technological, might be sleeping or just waiting inside the Earth's hidden spaces?
How many secrets are simply being outlasted by the planet, shielded by time and impossibility, waiting for the next geological or historical shift to bring them back to the surface?
Maybe 500,000 years from now?
Maybe.
That is something profound to mull over the next time you look at a map and assume you know where everything is.
Thank you for joining us on this deep dive into Earth's most actively guarded secrets.
We'll see you next time.